If you struggle with emotional eating, then I want you to start by saying something clearly. This is not a discipline problem. Most people who deal with emotional eating are intelligent, capable, and highly self-aware. Many of them are extremely disciplined in other areas of their life. So why does food feel so different? Because emotional eating is not primarily about hunger, right? It's about regulation. When we experience stress, overwhelm, loneliness, boredom, or even subtle anxiety, the brain looks for relief. And one of the fastest ways to create relief is through dopamine. Highly processed foods, especially sugar and refined carbs, stimulate dopamine pathways in the brain in a way that temporarily reduces distress. So when you eat during stress, your brain isn't being weak, okay? It's actually being efficient. The problem is that over time, this creates a conditional loop, right? So the stress goes to food and then to relief and then to reinforcement. And the brain learns that food equals safety. Now, here's where this becomes even more important. For some people, especially those with long-standing stress patterns or subtle forms of complex trauma, the nervous system may already be wired towards hypervigilance or chronic tension. And in that state, the body is constantly seeking regulation. So food becomes a coping mechanism, not because you lack character, okay, but because your nervous system learned it as a survival tool. GLP-1 medications, for example, can reduce appetite, right? They can quiet the food noise, but they do not erase the underlying wiring. So if emotional eating patterns are not adequately addressed, they often return once appetite suppression is reduced. That's why in my program, we don't just focus on calories or appetite control. We do both, all right? We focus on helping you learn how to stabilize your blood sugar, cut off inflammatory foods, repair your gut-brain signaling, regulate your cortisol and stress physiology, and identify emotional triggers without shame, okay? Because once blood sugar stabilizes, cravings decrease. Okay, and once the gut microbiome shifts, your GLP-1 signaling improves naturally. And once the nervous system feels safer, the need for comfort eating begins to soften. All right. This is why detox is not just about the liver, right? It's also about resetting your signaling. And by that, I mean your metabolic and neurologic signaling. You don't need more restriction. Okay. What you need is more regulation. And once your body biology is calmer, the behavior becomes easier. If you want to go further into this topic, I created a free e-guide called Understanding Food Addiction for you. Okay. Inside it, you find a simple self-assessment. Okay. The Yale Food Addiction Scale overview. You find an explanation of the dopamine loop and some practical first steps towards breaking the cycle. And if you're already on the medication and wondering why certain patterns still linger, that's exactly the layer that we'll explore during the free vitality strategy session with me, okay? Because sustainable weight loss isn't just about suppressing appetite. It's also about learning how to regulate yourself, all right? And if all this resonates with you, then download the free e-guide on understanding food addiction and let's start addressing the root causes, okay?